How does one start a YouTube video? Like this?
We are now stranded in the Arctic for the next 7 days!
Or like this?
This stranger thinks we're about to rob a real bank.
What's interesting is when you expect from a YouTube video is probably more in the large entertainment such as Mr. Beast. You say things on the nose verbatim intentionally to get the most amount of people to watch. But what happens when you break type? Expect from any other high spectacle YouTube video, except something is very different. Conceptually, this is an original idea, but as far as execution goes, there's nothing that you see here you wouldn't normally see in a big Mr. Beast video. But something seems to be different around the 3-minute mark.
My friend Adam, he's gonna have no idea what's going on here.
We break type from what you would expect from any other YouTube video to give us something that is truly unseen on the platform. I'm gonna walk you through exactly what I think is effective about this video from a narrative perspective. And I think it's because it follows these narrative conventions so strongly, you would see something more in conventional media, such as films, such as TV shows. Less so what you expect from a YouTube video, but it never seems to break the YouTube audience's attention by any means. For those of you who know me, my name is J.R. Bryant. I am a YouTube strategist and filmmaker, and I'm going to break down exactly what makes this so effective from a narrative perspective. So the video starts exactly as you'd expect. There's a person who has to do some kind of challenge, and unbeknownst to him, this isn't real. It starts off the same as you expect in the other YouTube video. We have voiceover. We even have what's known at Beast is called a stair-step video. So on a stair-step video, you would start with something simple. Say, I had to survive 100 days in a circle. The person says the very title. And then he establishes the conflict. But outside of that conflict, he needs to establish one more thing. There's things that are gonna happen in this video you didn't expect. For example, they're gonna tear the house in half. They're gonna bring a bunch of people to come and distract them. The circle's gonna get smaller. Anything in the above works as long as we put in the viewer's head what they're about to see is something they wouldn't normally expect from the video they clicked on. In other words, we are over-delivering. And this over-delivery is how you get the viewers to stay. And if you succeed with execution, you essentially got a new fan, i.e. new subscriber, new viewer, etc. And this is all great, and there's nothing wrong with what they do here. I don't really see a lot of improvement needed on the stair-step method. But what's different with Mac's video, he breaks this mold entirely. By the time we get to the 3-minute mark, we assume this person needed money, hence why they are actually robbing a bank in their mind. But what's actually happening is very different. They hired FBI agents to convince him, interrogate his old friend, to essentially get information on how they can help stop the robbery before it happens. In other words, this is now framed as Mac is committing a real crime only to make a YouTube video about it. But in actuality, Mac is orchestrating all of this world, a simulation, he calls it, to create one thing, keeping the simulation going for as long as possible. We are now telling layers to the story to, one, not only make the stranger not look like an actual criminal or give any kind of slander towards him by any means, but we are also putting a real narrative agency on the stranger. He has to make hard decisions. Does he actually follow through with what the FBI agents are asking of him? Does he actually reconnect with Mac? And when he does, how does he walk the tightrope of not being found out? And Mac is very aware of all these things, hence he gets to play up the character that he will be playing as an actual criminal. I say actual, but obviously no actual crimes are being committed. He clearly signed off with the police and he clearly got the entire town in on it, so there is no actual criminality happening. But as far as the stranger is concerned, that's not the case. And it's what they decide to do next is what makes this video so compelling in my mind, and what makes it to what I believe is one of the most exciting videos I've ever seen on YouTube. Probably wondering, how exactly do I know what I know when it comes to making these videos? Well, for me, what's been helpful is tools, and I only use the best tools on the planet. This is why I use 1 in 10. I use tools like this to help my clients get the results they are looking for themselves, and I can guarantee it because I am using the best tools there are. So do yourself a favor, use my link down below. You'll get this whole month for a single $1 when you sign up with my code. So use my link down below, get 1 to 10, and start using AI thumbnail generations today to make the next 1 out of 10 for for you. Now, back to the video. The thing that they do next in the video is what I find so effective. They build emotional tension with every decision that he makes until the final reveal. What's interesting here is how exactly they choose to tell the story non-linearly. You see, in most YouTube videos, you expect what is a chronological order of an edit. Normally, that goes with the video begins when you start the contest, the video ends when they win the contest, as linear as a video can possibly be. But what you see in films is they have the luxury of being able to break structures. For example, something like Fight Club, it doesn't begin chronologically. It actually starts at the end. They're able to break structural convention by telling a more effective story, by essentially starting at the end of it. You'll see this in a lot of films where they mess around with the structure of how it's supposed to go, something similar to Weapons, something similar to a lot of films that don't tell their stories linearly. Mac decides to take the YouTube video into a very similar direction. You see, it starts, the very beginning is in the height of when they're about to rob the bank, but then transitions from there to planning the device to only a day before the actual bank robbery. But then they break the structure one more time by going back to the very actual beginning where the FBI agents run into the stranger. Then after this, we see what is a normal linear story. We build and build and build up until the robbery again. And from here on out, you pretty much get exactly what you expect from the structure. And this is why I think they have executed this so well, is they decided to not just make another YouTube video, but to execute a YouTube video like it was cinema. And you are waiting the whole time for the bank robbery to happen. It's literally like a loaded gun you're waiting to go off. But they do the very opposite of what any other creator would do in this moment. Instead of getting us to there as fast as possible, they wait. The clock begins to tick. The sounds begin to come in. We hear the song Boots play again and again and again. We heard this trailer before from 28 Days Later, one of the best trailers of that year, and it even won an award for it. They took a note from that book and played it here to build tension, but not just any tension, dread. You see the warning logo above. This warning logo is literally getting in the viewer's head, making them believe what they're about to see is going to be way more graphic than it actually is. We go in further. The tension gets higher. The FBI agents are following until Max says,
You think they're following us?
once he says this, they're forced to pull off. Now, all of a sudden, what was supposed to be an interrupted bank heist becomes an actual bank heist. The character, the stranger, finally has figured out he's going to have to go through the robbery, and the music only intensifies. Everything gets higher and more intense up until the very moment we park right in front of it. Then, silence. Mac looks at the stranger. They grab their stuff. He counts down. They are stretching this as tight as possible. You couldn't be white knuckling it more in this moment. And then they're in. And the interesting beat here is they hold off for 1 second. I find this to be so realistic of an attempt of a bank robbery. You see this in something like a film, A Place Beyond the Pines. Ryan Gosling stars in this film, and it's a very awkward scene and nothing you've ever seen when it comes to a bank robbery. The people aren't crying, they're not shouting, they actually don't even know what to do at first, which I find exactly what happens here until the gun goes off. Everyone's screaming, everyone's shouting, people have different vantage points. Not everyone can see exactly what has happened. For all they know, someone has been shot. They duck down, they hide, they scream, they cry, their hands are shaking. As you can tell, the girl who's trying to unlock the vault, she can barely get her hands around the keys to put into the mechanism to unlock for him. This stranger, if it wasn't for his mask, you could probably imagine the shocked face behind it. Mac keeps the tension. He's yelling, he is shouting, he's full of nothing but heart-pumping adrenaline. The stranger grabs bar by bar of gold, placing it in his backpack. The cops start coming. You hear the sirens, and Mac starts yelling his name again and again and again until eventually they both jump in the truck and drive off. This is the height of the whole video. As they chase him, we have several question marks on us. How is this going to resolve? Is he going to go to jail? What's going to happen to the stranger? Are they going to realize that he's an accomplice? Or are they going to realize he's in with the FBI? We have no idea. And all of this comes down to the wire once they finally get to the safe house. Once they are here, what happens next, to me, is what elevates this video beyond anything else. Now, something you would normally see in an actual film is called subtext. Now, subtext is the subtlety that is happening underneath the scene. So, for example, if somebody says, "How do you like your coffee?" That's not subtext, right? That is the text. But the subtext could be something entirely different. So, what is "How do you like your coffee?" can come out more like "I hate your guts." So, when someone were to say, "How I like your coffee?" like "I hate your guts," it changes the dynamic of the entire scene. You realize it's not about the coffee, it's actually about something else. This is subtext. and you will never see this in a YouTube video. Most of the time, people are making videos for children, so everything is very surface level. No matter what anyone tells you, it's just the nature of the game. And that's not me hating what they do. I think what they do is effective and it works. But when it comes to actual storytelling, obviously no one on YouTube is really doing this until I saw it in this video. You see here, he says, I need to call my mom. And you see Mac's face and it says everything. Now, obviously Mac knows what's going on, but the character of Mac doesn't know what's going on. He gets to play up the character to help the video. And you can tell he knows something is up, but he doesn't say it. But what's interesting is what happens is not how Mac responds, but how the stranger subtly responds to this. The stranger can tell Mac thinks something is up, so he gets slightly defensive, hoping it'll be enough to deter him. But now they both know that they both know something's up, and we get this performance from Mac. To the average viewer, this doesn't look like anything special, but if you are really paying attention, this is a very layered, nuanced performance. You're seeing the layers of what's going on. You're seeing the disappointment. And what's interesting is these guys are real friends. And the truth is, how much of this is real to what Mac is really feeling an actual betrayal from a friend, and how much of it is performed? It's actually, for me, impossible to tell. And then he comes back and Mac decides to take the direction of the video in the best direction possible. A lesser filmmaker, a lesser writer would have made this a fight, but he chooses something that no one could have ever expected. He leans into the connection that they have. He doubles down on the emotion of the video. He makes this about the relationship, the bond, the brotherhood, and how there's no one in the world who's had this experience. And he is right. This is all the truth. It just happens to be around a bank robbery, but it also happens to be layered underneath the fact that this stranger just betrayed him. Mac just doesn't know it yet, or at least the character of Mac doesn't. As this is happening, we see the SWAT team running in, and it's a wonderful contrast to what is called ironic emotion. Irony is essentially you have two truths coming together that seem to contradict each other. For example, if a ambulance were to run you over and kill you, that would be irony, right? But here we have another layer of emotional irony, where on the surface we have something beautiful, which is the connection between friends. But on top of that, what's really happening is the betrayal between friends. Seems like it should be an emotionally intimate moment, is actually the complete opposite. That contradiction is what creates the powerful emotional irony at the most important moment, the very end of the video. You only see this kind of storytelling in some of the most skilled filmmakers. You don't see it on YouTube for a reason. A lot of people don't think it works, but they are literally proving with what is now, at the time of recording this, 19 million views. They have proved that wrong. And then of course we get the great cathartic moment where Mac finally gets caught for what he has done. Kick down the door, flash goes off, and they wrestle him to the ground, pull him out screaming. The friend, the stranger, is conflicted. He has done what is technically the right moral thing, but in order to do that, he had to compromise the friendship that was just solidified by Mac. He feels as if he's betrayed someone who truly cared about him. And he's also gone through a great deal of adrenaline-filled moments throughout the day. Probably has no clue what to do with himself emotionally. And then Mac comes in to say, it's just a prank. How do you even end a video like this for this poor guy? But after it is all over, they give us a little bookend epilogue type scenario where he watches the very film that we have just watched in the theater. This gives us the resolution that everything's actually okay with them and this video simulation is now over. I think this is one of the best videos I've ever seen, and it's only because of a few things that they implemented. You start the video just like you would any other YouTube video. The first 3 minutes, nothing unexpected. But they break the type by, instead of building upon what is the stair-step video, they do a turn of the video. The narrative doesn't go the way you expected. And this creates layers to the story as well as builds our intrigue. After this, they build tension. They let us sit and wait for the anticipated high explosive moment that is the bank robbery and extend it as far as humanly possible. The third is how they choose to execute it in the most realistic way possible. They end with emotional irony. Contradictory emotions happening simultaneously gives the scene way more emotional impact than it would have otherwise. And this is something you'd only see in a film. And they're only able to do this because of how well they kept your attention for the first 3 to 6 minutes of the video. And once you do this, you're pretty much free to break type and take risks where most people wouldn't. This is what they've done so effectively, and it makes me so excited to subscribe to this channel, and I can't wait to see the stories they tell next. Please use my link down below 1 to 10 to get your next month for $8 using the best tools on the planet. I'll see you guys in the next one.